Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the character banner versus the weapon banner, which one to go for and especially when. In extension to that I'll also talk about constellations and refinements. This video is only about account progression, so I don't consider 5-star weapons as a cosmetic choice to match a character's appearance. One thing before starting, getting closer to a C6 character or a R5 weapon kind of leads us into solid whale territory, so allow me to give a disclaimer first. This game is designed to be an easy casual game, so if you're struggling, you probably just mismanaged your resources. So spending $100 to fix it won't help you a whole lot. For example, spending won't get you to 36 stars in the Abyss, at least not by itself. First and foremost, this game is very grind heavy, especially when it comes to artifacts, which is the main way to increase player power. So again, don't feel compelled to get constellations or refinements in case you're struggling. With that out of the way, let's get into it. When you first start the game, expanding your character cast is obviously way more interesting than getting a 5-star weapon. And even in the late game, if you want to have a character, getting that first copy just to unlock it sounds pretty nice to me. But I also think there's some kind of diminishing returns to it. If you have like 10 or 20 characters built, you will obviously only play one at a time, 4 in a team, which is where the weapon banner starts to get appealing to me as someone who cares a fair deal about player power. One thing probably everybody is already aware of is the weapon banner is a scam. So be aware of that should you decide to pull there. There are 2 weapons on each one of them and they don't alternate. Instead, we have a rip-off pity system that requires us to pity 3 times to get our desired weapon, and it doesn't even carry over to the next banner. My advice: wish only on the banner if you're interested in both weapons, so this is an exceptionally bad example for this, but if that is the case, you can wish for on that banner, but if it isn't, make at least sure that you have enough to pity 3 times to get your weapon. If you're spending 10,000s of Primo gems and you don't get what you want, it feels really bad, especially if you're free to play. So to recap, if you feel like you have a big character cast and lacking in weapons, for example 10 characters and only one 5-star weapon, at that point I would start considering the weapon banner, of course only if both weapons are attractive to you. The next thing I want to talk about are 4-star characters. I feel like a lot of people are very fixated on this, and if you have seen some of my videos before, you might have wondered why I never mentioned them. In general, I'd recommend don't risk your 5-star pity for a 4-star character. If you are close to 5-star pity for a character you aren't interested in, it's obviously a bad idea trying to snipe a 4-star character no matter how you look at it. But if you aren't close to pity, let me just say, for unlocking certain characters like, for example, Bennett or Jingshou, it is certainly worth it. And I would even go as far as to say important constellations like, for example, C1 Bennett are probably worth trying to snipe as well. And now let's use this to segue into constellations and refinements. First, to finish up the 4 stars, I wouldn't recommend trying to snipe 4-star constellations. To begin with, you only have a 1 in 3 chance, and even if you want 2 or all of them, there's also a chance that you get an off-banner character or weapon. So to get actually a decent shot at getting what you want is lower than you might think. Of course, if you are at fresh pity and you want to do 10 or 20 wishes, I think that's perfectly fine if you are disciplined enough to stop there. Hitting a 5-star character that you don't want at like 50 wishes in feels bad, especially as free to play. It effectively wasted 8,000 Primo gems, which is around $100. What about 5-star constellations versus 5-star refinements though? My assumption is that most people instinctively value constellations over refinements just because characters feel more impactful than weapons, which is something that I would agree with, but constellations aren't characters. So as you might have guessed from that statement, I think refinements are worth more. The reason for that is actually quite simple. Let me try to visualize it. Let's say you have a Constellation 6 Ayaka. There is actually only one option to make use of these constellations, and that is to force Ayaka into every single team composition. Now let's say you have a Refinement 5 Mist Splitter, her weapon. And you suddenly have, let's see, sort characters. If you include Ayato, you have suddenly 10 different options to use these refinements by equipping the Mist Splitter Refinement 5 to any of these characters. So you have a way greater variety of gameplay. These weapons are just way more flexible in short. So I think 5-star characters are more exciting than weapons, but refinements are better than constellations. Heavily investing into a single character is like betting all your money on a single horse. If it loses, you are left with nothing. So hopefully you never lose interest in your C6 horse if you choose to do that. With that, we made it to the end. I hope this was interesting, and just in case someone will ask, but what about Giga Whales? If that's the case, you don't need to click on a video on how to allocate your resources, you just get everything. That's it from me. Stay tuned for the next video, which will probably be a patch 2.6 livestream recap or something, followed by another video about Ayato. Until then, have fun and bye bye.